Discover 7 spine-chilling Halloween party tales, expose the sinister secrets of the haunted night. Amanda pushed her way through swathes of colorful leaves as she arrived at the Ellis home. The place hummed with laughter and the sweet scent of caramel apples, but everything was cloaked in an unsettling undercurrent. The portraits of festive jack-o'-lanterns seemed almost sinister, their carved eyes glinting in the flickering firelight like watchful sentinels. As a single mom, Amanda wanted this Halloween to be special for Sarah and Liam, but the spontaneous unease prickled at her skin. Something was off in Maplewood, and she couldn't quite put her finger on it. The neighbors milled about, their chatter filled with too much laughter and not enough sincerity. Amanda caught her neighbor, Miss Parker, casting lingering glances at the vast shadows that concealed the trees. Whispers danced among the crowd, tales of vanished pets, a family disappearing overnight, and a beloved teacher who'd been lost for days. As they gathered around the bonfire, the stories shifted, each account heavier than the last. Faces softened with nostalgia morphed into grimaces as they recounted folklore that sent shudders through the little circle of light. Amanda's heart raced. The tales were laced with terror, a local myth warned of specters, forever watching, waiting for the unsuspecting. Wasn't Halloween just about fun? Suddenly, the wind howled, carrying an icy chill. Liam's gleeful shouts faded into the night as he darted toward a far-off glow. Minutes slipped away, and Amanda's heart sank. "Liam!" she yelled, voice thick with rising panic. Each passing second felt like an eternity. Her stomach churned as she scanned the faces around the fire, searching for any glimmer of her son. Instead, she found hardened expressions, eyes darting, their laughter now hushed. She felt the doubt creeping in, the whispers hung like fog in the air, wrapping around her thoughts in a suffocating grip. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Amanda's breath quickened. The stories were no longer just folklore, they etched shadows into her very bones. She tore down the darkened street, each windswept branch scratching at her as if to warn her to turn back. Following a gut instinct, she approached the thicket where growing dread coiled around her heart. Suddenly, she caught sight of a flash of orange, a pumpkin light near the edge of the neighborhood. But there lurked more. A looming figure shifted among the dense trees, eyes glinting with an otherworldly glow, their movements not quite right. Pure terror coursed through her veins. Amanda's blood ran cold as fragmented whispers floated closer. "You're not the only one looking for him," she heard, spine tingling. The familiar faces of her neighbors were painted over by a shadow of fear, and the cozy facade of community fell away, revealing something monstrous. In that moment, Amanda realized, in her hunt for Liam, she'd stumbled upon a deeper, darker secret hidden behind their friendly smiles. And she was running out of time. Amanda's heart pounded as she crept forward, straining to make out the figure concealed among the gnarled branches. Shadows flickered like restless spirits around her, warped by the restless flames of the nearby bonfire. Her breath burned in her throat as she called out again, "Liam." Her voice echoed into the darkness, swallowed by an eerie silence that made her skin crawl. The figure shifted again, a dark silhouette merging with the tree line, moving with an unnatural fluidity. It was too tall, too lean, the features hidden beneath the slant of a hood. Fear cascaded through her. Was it a trick of the light playing games with her exhausted mind? Or something more sinister? She clutched her phone, the screen lit up, but the reception seemed dead, swallowed by the ominous atmosphere. Zipping sounds drew her attention. The wind was stirring, a low growl like a beast awakening from slumber. The trees seemed to sway and bend, whispering secrets that made her shudder. "Where are you, Liam?" Panic folded over her like a suffocating blanket. She couldn't just stand there. Pushing further into the thicket, the air grew dense with dread. A wave of nausea hit her as she stumbled upon a clearing, glowing under the ominous light of the half-moon. Flickering candles illuminated a makeshift altar, adorned with dried leaves and wilted flowers. A chill swept through her as she approached. Unmarked graves? Or a druidess shrine? Was this the heart of Maplewood's secrets? Liam! She screamed one last time, desperation laced in her voice. Suddenly, a high-pitched laughter rang out from behind the altar, a sound that was familiar yet twisted. Her heart sank. It was Sarah's laugh, bubbly and infectious, ringing out like a death knell in the quiet night. Where is she? The frantic thought spiraled, bouncing against her skull. The laughter grew louder, mingling with whispers, a cacophony of juvenile giggles and something more sinister lurking just beneath the surface. Without thinking, she darted past the altar, her limbs strong with maternal instinct. But the world around her became a swirl of shadows and reflections. Shapes flickered between the trees. Her breath caught in her throat as one pointed figure leaped into her path. It wore a grimacing mask carved of wood, lined with an intricate design that seemed to shift and writhe. "Join us," it rasped, voice echoing like the wind. Amanda stumbled back, grasping at her chest, gasping for air. "Leave me alone!" she cried out, trying to shake the terror enveloping her. Bright lights danced further into the woods, dancing like will-o'-the-wisps, drawing her in against her will. They flickered and promised safety. She ran. The branches lashed out, slapping her like a warning, urging her to retreat. But a desperate drive pushed her forward, deeper into the night. Chants echoed off the trees, becoming a siren's song that resonated in her mind. Amidst the cacophony, the haunting truth struck her: they were not just playing games. They were calling. A scream erupted from the forest, slicing through the night, unmistakably Liam's. Amanda froze, dread clawing at her insides. "Help!" the cry echoed. She tore toward it, heart racing, but the ground beneath her began to tremble. The whispers grew louder, splintering into frantic chanting that swirled around her in a dizzying haze. Time was running out. She needed to make a choice: follow the sound of her son's voice or flee this nightmare, yet something deep within her fed her resolve. But as she reached the border of the clearing, a monstrous force erupted from the shadows, and a deafening roar filled the air. The monstrous figure moved closer. What was she truly willing to sacrifice to save her son? The monstrous figure closed in, its gaze piercing through the darkness. Amanda's instincts screamed at her to run, but her legs felt heavy, rooted to the earth in sheer terror. The creature towered over her, its features distorted, eyes glowing like embers in the night. "Help!" came another scream, this time closer. Her heart raced as a rush of adrenaline shot through her, snapping her into motion. With a leap, she surged forward, breaking through the crushing weight of fear, weaving past the altar where shadows pooled in the flickering candlelight. Branches clawed at her arms, scratching her skin as she barreled deeper into the grasp of the woods. Each scream rang sharp against the silence, a beacon guiding her through the dark labyrinth. "Liam!" she cried out again, voice desperate and raw. The ground trembled beneath her feet, rhythmic and unsettling like the throbbing of a heartbeat. Shadows danced maddeningly, and every rustle sent panic jolting through her. Was she imagining things, or were the woods alive around her? Treetops swayed, whispering secrets meant only for those who belonged in the dark. "Mommy!" The cry silenced her breath, a fleeting glimmer of hope amidst the chaos. She shoved through the underbrush, branches grabbing at her clothes as if trying to keep her from escaping. "Liam, I'm coming." The cold air stung her lungs, but she pressed on, a primal drive channeling her every ounce of strength. The ground gave way beneath her feet suddenly. She gasped as she stumbled, catching herself just in time to peer into an abyss that seemed to swallow light itself. She halted the moment stretching like an eternity as she heard a soft whisper rise from the darkness below. "Help me, Mommy!" A shudder racked her body. The voice was echoing from somewhere beneath, mingling with the choral chants she had heard before. "No, no, no, I can't go down there." Panic surged again, but there was this ache and need to retrieve Liam at all costs. With every fleeting second, her decision teetered. Shadows crawled closer, filling in the margins of her vision, pulling her toward that gaping void. "Liam!" She screamed again, grappling for any kind of answer from below. Suddenly, the chanting stopped, replaced by a heavy silence that settled like dust on forgotten memories. Amanda's heart raced in the quiet, as the shadows around her tightened, dwarfing her in their embrace. "Join us!" the voice from before coiled around her, thick with an otherworldly promise. It weaved in and out like smoke, disorienting her. A flash of movement caught her eye, and she whirled around. Shadows flickered behind her, following just outside her reach, too swift to pin down. An image pierced her mind, Sarah, still laughing, weaving through the trees with ethereal grace. As if compelled by a force beyond her, Amanda lunged toward the laughter. The frantic cries of her children intertwined, each calling for her in different ways, fueling her determination and dread. Then the ground shifted again, the air grew thick, and the very trees seemed to lean closer, as if shading a sinister truth. "You can save one," the voice sang again, pulling her between the darkness below and the laughter that echoed in her ears. Waves of terror flooded through her mind, battling against the love she held for both her children. The weight of choice bore down heavily. "No! I want to choose," she shouted defiantly. But as her heart pounded, she could feel the pull of the forest deepening its grasp, tightening like a noose. Then, another scream. Different this time, an agonizing howl. Amanda gasped, horrified. It was both a warning and a lure, echoing from a distance she couldn't quite decipher. Who was in peril now? Liam. Her world spun. Time twisted, and she teetered on the edge of her decision, dread coiling tighter around her heart. Would the forest demand her to choose? The shadows fell silent, awaiting her next move. But as she caught her breath, a figure stepped into the dim light, revealing a grinning face obscured by a mask, its intent unknown and chilling. What secret did it hold? Who would she find beyond the veil of darkness? The figure leaned closer, the masked face impossibly still against the flickering light. Amanda's breath hitched, the eyes behind the mask glimmered, reflecting fragments of moonlight like shards of broken glass. "Choose wisely," it rasped, the voice a cold slither that sent shivers racing down her spine. Each word wrapped around her like the creeping vines on the forest floor, binding, squeezing, suffocating. She felt the pull of the shadows tightening, as if they too awaited her decision with bated breath. "What do you want?" Amanda gasped, feeling the world tilt beneath her. "Let me go." "Let you go?" The masked figure chuckled, a sound devoid of warmth. "You should feel honored. The forest has a need for your heart's desire, and a price must be paid." Her mind sparked with dread. The forest was alive, yes, but how could it seek her desires? Was it testing her, toying with her fears? All around her, the trees groaned like ancient guardians, watching, judging. "I want my children," she cried out, desperation clawing at her throat. "I want them safe." The laughter echoed around her, merging with the whispers in the trees. "Safe," it repeated mockingly. "But at what cost? You can only save one. Can you live with the choice?" Clawed fingers of shadow playfully swirled above her, eager for her answer. "I want to choose," Amanda shouted, shaking her head wildly. "I refuse." Each word seemed to shimmer in the thick air, imbued with defiance even as terror gripped her. "Then see what the forest offers." As the masked figure gestured, the ground rumbled again. From the darkness, a wretched moan drifted up, pulling her attention toward the abyss. "Mommy," echoed a voice that sliced through the night like a knife. Her heart dropped. No. Liam. Panic fueled her forward, but the masked figure's presence loomed tight behind her. Shadows curled around her ankles, trying to pull her back, away from the plea. You shouldn't ignore the ancient, Amanda. Chuckles ragged with malice swirled in the cool night air. She threw a glance over her shoulder, caught between the darkness below and the masked creature blocking her escape. Help me. Liam's voice broke through her resolve, raw and desperate, echoing through the trees. I need you. The forest pulse quickened, and Amanda's breath came fast, each heartbeat drumming a wild tune of fear and love tangled into one. She swallowed hard, eyes darting from the void to the masked figure blocking her path and back again. No, she whispered, shaking now, fighting to breathe. The weight of choice bore down relentlessly, tightening its grip around her heart. Choose, Amanda. Only one can be saved. The other becomes part of the woods eternally. The threat hung in the air, chilling and sharp as a blade. The shadows danced and yawned, creating portals into dark nightmares and lost hope. Could she really abandon one of her children? Mommy, the echo trembled in the air, snatching at her core where love and fear battled furiously. Please. She shouted, the panic rising through her entire being. I can't choose. A silence suddenly blanketed the clearing, even the winds held their breath. Then the forest chooses for you, the figure spat, eyes narrowing wickedly behind the mask. An instant later, the ground lurched again. It was as if the very earth was ripping apart, splitting between her and the abyss. The shrill sound of laughter erupted from the woods, gnarled roots bursting forth from the shadows like fingers reaching out for her. Run, run, Amanda. The masked figure seemed to dissolve into the darkness. Amanda turned, determined to find Liam, but the forest's layout had shifted, the paths she knew twisted cruelly, reshaping themselves like the memories she clung to. Everything around her felt wrong, malicious. And as she stumbled forward, visions of her children flickered in and out their faces, their laughter, the love she desperately wanted to cling to. Another scream tore through the night, closer this time, piercing through the veil of shadows and drawing her back to reality. Mommy. Help. The scream wasn't just Liam's, it was mingled with another voice, one she recognized but couldn't fully place. Fingers clutching her heart, Amanda flung herself deeper into the woods, knowing she was running out of time. But which voice should she chase? Which child was calling? Ahead, the forest opened before her, revealing a sickening choice bathed in silver light and shadow. Would she reach them in time, or would the forest hold her captive in its deceptive grip? The ground shifted beneath Amanda, a living, breathing thing, desperately aimed at hindering her progression. Each step felt heavier than the last, as if the forest itself was trying to anchor her, to bind her to the cool, damp earth. The air grew thick, oppressive, making her lungs burn with every inhalation. Mommy. The voice that cut through the darkness next was unmistakably Claire's. A wave of dread crashed over Amanda, pulling her deeper into confusion. Claire's laughter, that sweet sound that once filled their home, now twisted into an echo that vibrated with terror. Claire. She cried out, running faster, heart pounding to the strumming rhythm of fear. The trees glared down at her, branches clawing like skeletal fingers, begrudgingly allowing her passage. She could feel the weight of their judgment, heavy and stifling. The shadows morphed around her, blurring her surroundings, morphing her past memories into monstrous forms. The laughter's tone changed. It no longer echoed playfulness but mocked her despair with delight. Wrapping herself in the veil of darkness, the forest seemed to conspire, whispering secrets she was never meant to hear. A flicker of movement caught her eye. In the distance, silhouetted against a sliver of moonlight, a figure stood. It was small, frail, and unmistakably bound by the very shadows that haunted her. Amanda's heart lurched with recognition as she broke into a sprint. Mommy, save me. The air crackled, making her skin crawl. Claire was right there, just out of reach, tugging on her heartstrings like a cruel puppeteer. Amanda stretched her hand forward, feeling the damp chill whipping through her fingers. Every stride felt like a year, the distance between them a chasm filled with nightmares. Then, from behind, the laughter erupted again, ringing like a twisted chime. "You think you can save them both, Amanda? You can't break the ancient pact. The woods will claim one and your heart with it." The words slithered around her. The ground shook, and she staggered, fighting to keep her balance. Shadows flared in her periphery, and claws of darkness reached out for her, hungry and insistent. "Claire!" She screamed. Panic surged through her veins, injecting her with wild energy. She reached for the figure, but everything around her began to melt. The woods writhed in a manner that felt sentient, shifting and twisting, erasing her pathway even as she fought to find her child. And then in the freezing silence, another voice joined the chorus, a whisper so soft yet chilling, it scraped against the edges of her sanity. "Mama, don't forget me. Liam." Amanda's stomach twisted as a wave of guilt washed over her. She hesitated, torn between the two loves of her life. Each child sang a melody of despair, pulling her deeper into the pit of indecision. "Choose." The forest roared, roots and branches tearing the earth apart, ripping at her resolve. From the darkness, broken images flickered into view: Claire laughing in the sun, Liam scribbling art on the living room floor. Memories warmed her heart but quickly turned to ash as the severity of her choices crashed down around her. "Mommy." Their voices twisted together, merging into a haunting refrain that echoed in her ears, pounding like a drumbeat marking time. She closed her eyes tightly, trying to shut out the overwhelming dread. The mask of the figure reappeared in the depths of her mind. It watched with insatiable hunger, waiting for the truth to unfold. In that moment, she felt the sharp bite of desperation urging her to act, to free her children from the sinister grip of the forest. If she didn't decide, they would be lost forever, twisted into the shadows of the woods. Amanda took a deep breath and stepped forward, heart racing, but the silence pulled her back, an omnipresent void swallowing her thoughts whole. "Fate doesn't wait, Amanda," the wind hissed. She couldn't breathe. The shadows closed in, thick and unfathomable. Somewhere deep within, her resolve flickered like a candle in a tempest. "Who will you save?" And everything went dark. In that moment of pure dread, silence fell upon her. She was left standing at a crossroads in the deepest part of the forest, both children calling out from the endless night. How much time remained before the woods made its choice? The darkness pressed down, thick and suffocating. Time felt elastic, stretching infinitely in every direction as Amanda stood at the precipice of her fear. The shadows yanked at her spirit, but deep inside, a flicker of determination sparked. The weight of her choices crashed against her like waves in a storm. "Claire." The name tore from her throat, desperate and raw. The forest answered with a low rustle, a collective breath of malevolence that sent chills racing down her spine. And then, as if ignited by her scream, the shadows danced, warping into dreadful figures that seemed to inhabit every corner of her vision. A voice slithered through the air, smooth and taunting. "What will you do? Can you feel their pain?" It whispered, sinister and inviting. "You're just a step away from losing them both. Keen to play your games?" Amanda retorted, her voice more defiant than she felt. Adrenaline surged through her, but uncertainty gnawed at her resolve. How could any mother choose between her children? "Think of the happiness you can have if you end this," the voice continued, seductive and sharp. "Just step deeper into the woods, and I'll show you." Without thinking, Amanda stumbled backward, heart quaking. A trickle of sweat slipped down her brow as she fought to stay focused. "No. I won't give in." The echoes of her protest reverberated through the trees, a challenge that rattled the air. For a moment, silence cocooned her, allowing a glimmer of hope to pierce through the shroud of despair. She recalled Claire's laughter on sunny days, the simple magic of bedtime stories, the way Liam's eyes sparkled as he drew. "Mommy." Claire's voice rang out again, closer this time yet layered with an urgency that froze her breath. The forest seemed to vibrate with their cries, merging into a haunting song of anguish. "Don't let them harvest your regret," the shadows hissed again. "You have to make a choice, and quickly." Amanda's heart raced as a horrifying realization washed over her, a nightmarish understanding of the ancient pact the woods demanded. The requirement wasn't merely a choice, it was a sacrifice. One child, one heart claimed by these insatiable woods. Biting her lip to stem the tide of horror that threatened to consume her, Amanda pressed forward. "I will find them, and I will break this pact." The ground shifted beneath her, treacherous and alive. Roots snaked out as if trying to pull her under, but with each step, Amanda broke the surface of the wood's malevolence. A dim light glimmered through the trees, and in that light, she saw two figures, each trapped in the shadows. One small, the other slightly taller, one familiar and the other achingly precious. "Mommy!" they cried in unison, voices ringing like crystals through the fog. Amanda's soul split in two as all the pain and love surged inside her. A growing panic tightened its grip, forcing her to realize that time was dwindling. Suddenly, a snapping sound echoed through the darkness. She turned. The shadows solidified into monstrous forms, hungry, twisted figures that lurked just beyond where the moonlight reached. They advanced, their intentions clear, they meant to make Amanda make her choice. Choose. The wind howled, and branches clashed against one another, forming a chorus that enveloped her, a cacophony echoing in a mad dance. Her world tilted, fear clashing with desperate hope. Would she be able to reach her children before the forest claimed its due? She felt the shadow's grip tightening around her, threatening to plunge her back into the abyss. She closed her eyes, willing herself to focus on what was real, on the love that anchored her to life. How could she choose one over the other? The figures beckoned closer, shadows reaching out for her as thunder rumbled in the distance, a storm of ominous signs gathering just above the treetops. In that moment, Amanda realized, the woods didn't just want to condemn her to a choice, they wanted to unravel her, to tear at her very essence. And then, in the midst of the chaos, a familiar laugh broke through the fear. A chilling tingle settled along her spine. "Mommy, remember?" What did that mean? She opened her eyes, heart pounding. The forest, the figures, everything dissolved into chaos as the shadows deepened. "Who will you choose?" A final question reverberated through the trees, and as darkness closed in once more, Amanda felt the suffocating weight of despair wrap around her. What choice would she ultimately make, before time ran out? Amanda stood on the brink of despair, her mind racing. "What did you mean, Claire?" She cried into the encroaching gloom around her. "What do I need to remember?" The shadows twisted, curling like smoke around her feet. Her heart hammered in her chest as she felt the cold breath of the forest pressing in, urging her to decide. A low rumble of discontent vibrated through the earth, almost like it was growling in hunger. Mommy Claire's voice coiled through the air, a melody of innocence entwined with a threat that sank its claws deep into Amanda's heart. "You promised what?" The frantic whisper escaped Amanda's trembling lips. She was losing control, her thoughts tumbling through the haze like leaves caught in a whirlwind. "Remember our secret?" Claire echoed, laughter echoing in the dark, a playful tone mingled with something more sinister. Panic forced Amanda to take a step back. What secret? The images her mind scrambled for were cloaked in a fog of past memories. It felt like chasing shadows in the dark. The ground beneath her quivered, and she steadied herself, her breath coming out in bursts. "What don't I remember?" she shouted, desperation spilling over. The thick silence that responded only heightened her terror. The figures, still and shrouded in darkness, seemed to swell with each heartbeat. They elongated, twisting into grotesque parodies of her fears and regrets. One face morphed into Liam, his innocent smile now twisted into a silent scream of betrayal. "Mommy, help! No! No!" Amanda cried, covering her ears as though she could drown out the sound. But the echoes continued. Each indignant cry bounced back at her, digging into her resolve, tearing at the very fabric of her heart. "Choose." The wind howled again, mocking her. "You must choose." Each word jabbed at her like a knife, urgent and sharp. With her spirit crumbling, Amanda recalled the tales Claire used to tell, bedtime stories of bravery and love, of heroic mothers who fought against all odds for their children. She had always held those stories close, yet now they felt hollow, abandoned in this wretched place. Determined not to let her children down, Amanda steadied her resolve. "I will find you," she screamed, lifting her chin defiantly against the dark. But the words felt weak even as they left her. She began to push through the shadows toward Claire's laughter, a beacon of light in this cursed labyrinth. The leaves crunched underfoot, each step echoing with anxiety. "Mommy!" The call was stronger, more urgent. But as Amanda rushed forward, something in the air shifted. The trees began to close in, branches twisting into claw-like formations, reaching out as if desperate to ensnare her. It was as if the forest was alive, intent on devouring her whole, one choice at a time. Without warning, a powerful gust of wind whipped around her, lifting her hair, sending a chill coursing through her. And with it, the air thickened, darkening the path ahead. A sudden flash of memory pierced her fog, a secret language, a way of signaling her children when they were in danger. "Claire! Liam!" She shouted again, the sound filled with urgency and newfound hope. "If you can hear me, I love you. Look for the light." But what light? Panic built once more as she noticed the shadows coiling tighter around her. The shadows hissed, the very air vibrating with their malice, silencing her words. "You will choose, or you will lose everything." In her heart, she felt the swell of dread. The laughter faded into the night, and a void replaced it, as though Claire's laugh had been swallowed whole by the very darkness they were caught in. Amanda sensed it, time was slipping through her fingers. But then a sudden shift, the howling wind stilled. In the eerie quiet, something flickered at the edge of her vision. A glimmer? Could it be? She took a hesitant step closer, heart racing. What if hope had returned? But as she moved, the shadows lunged. With an almost human-like eagerness, they reached for her and she stumbled back, fear striking her through like a lightning bolt. "Choose, Amanda," the voices chorused, now disturbing in unity. "Who will it be?" In that instant, Amanda felt the weight of her choice. A decision that would echo through eternity. What would she do when faced with that choice? Amanda braced herself, dread pooling in her stomach. Would she take the plunge into the light? Or would the shadows drag her under forever? Would she be strong enough to confront the truth of her past? The moment crested like a wave, ready to crash. The glimmer danced just beyond her grasp, a fragile promise in a haze of shadows. Amanda took an uncertain step closer, her instincts screaming at her to run in the opposite direction. But she couldn't, not when Claire's laughter echoed through the forest like a jarring alarm. "Mommy! Help!" It rang clearer now, underscoring the urgency that gripped her heart. The shadows writhed and hissed, clawing at the ground, a palpable threat lurking in their depths. They murmured, their whispers curling around Amanda's resolve, threatening to choke her hope. "You will choose or you will lose." The very trees seemed to lean closer, witnesses to her impending doom. Just a moment. She thought, fighting to reconcile her swirling emotions. The warmth of her children's laughter was fading, replaced by piercing screams that branded her soul with guilt. "Claire! Liam!" She cried again, her voice a desperate plea ricocheting off the gnarled trunks. In that echo, Amanda felt herself drowning beneath a tidal wave of despair. The laughter morphed into wretched sobs, the joyous undertone now a weapon against her sanity. But within the chaos, something deep inside her flickered strength born from fear. "I will not let you take my children." She called forth the memory, the secret she had almost forgotten. The words bubbled up, quickened by adrenaline. "Remember our secret." An ancient haze swirled and settled, silhouettes forming words on the starlit canvas of the night. Suddenly, it was as if she could see Claire and Liam, hidden, trapped in the dark. They were shadows themselves, melding into the murky woods. With each heartbeat, a chill tightened around her throat, squeezing her voice until it barely escaped. "I won't abandon you." She gathered whatever strength she could muster and began to chant the secret language she thought lost forever. The words were ancient, timeless, and held a power that trembled in the very air they shared. As she spoke, a shifting light pulsed from her chest, illuminating the thickets around her and momentarily pushing back the encroaching darkness. Only the shadows closest to her quivered at its touch, hissing in disgust. "No! Stay away!" Fingers of black clawed at her ankles, perpetually hungry for her despair, their malice mingling with the fear that churned deep within. "Choose, Amanda." The haunting voices droned again, this time less demanding, almost seductive, weaving through her thoughts like a thin silk thread. Just one sacrifice. The flickering light cast disfigured shapes on the ground, warping the truth before her eyes. All around her, Amanda felt the sensation of being watched, of unseen eyes fixated on every breath she took. "No sacrifice!" She gasped, her eyes darting around, searching for an exit. But just as quickly as the light surged, the shadows retaliated, swallowing her warm glow in an instant. "You will choose." They mocked, a cacophony of despair echoing tighter around her. Suddenly, she felt a tug at her heart, a raw sensation as if Claire and Liam were reaching out to her beyond the veil of darkness. Weakness washed over her, threatening to drown out the growing flame inside. With a final gasp of defiance, Amanda plunged forward, not into the light, but deeper into the forest where the shadows thickened. "Mommy! Mom!" The panicked cries pierced the air as Amanda charged through the blackness, an unwavering beat beneath her skin guiding her. If she could just reach them, fingers brushed against her wrist, pulling her back. "You can't save them. Not both." The shadows hissed, venom dripping from each word. Her heart raced as the darkness began to close in again. The branches tangled around her, clawing at her skin, drawing blood. Deftly, she twisted free, pushing against the overwhelming force. "I won't give in." As she barreled forward, everything shifted, and the laughter, the joyful sound of her children returned, bright and clear, cutting through the cacophony of fear. Amanda's heart swelled, a fierce urgency moving her feet, the pulsing memory guiding her path. But the moment was fleeting. The whispers grew louder, more chaotic, as shadows swirled around her, shifting strategy in their onslaught. "What will you sacrifice?" they demanded, weaving through the air, a serpent of darkness coiling around her. She had to decide. Amanda's breath quickened as desperation clawed anew. Would she save one but lose the other? "Mommy! I'm scared!" A scream ripped through the night, slicing through her like a knife. Time was running out. The darkness hungered for her choice. Would she hold on to the last shards of hope, or let the shadows swallow her whole? She felt herself teetering on the brink of despair yet again, knowing the moment would arrive when she had to choose. But who would it be? Amanda plunged deeper into the suffocating darkness, her heart pounding like a frantic drum against her ribcage. The cries of Claire and Liam intertwined around her, threading through the chilling air. Each scream sent daggers of urgency through her veins, sharper than the thorns clawing at her skin. "Mommy! Please!" Their voices fluttered like trapped moths, desperate and close. She felt them no more than whispers in the darkness, but she clawed ahead, driven by love and fueled by fear. The forest twisted around her, branches stretching like skeletal fingers, insurgent shadows rising from the ground to dance around her ankles, hissing venomous words she did not dare comprehend. "You choose or they choose for you. Shut up!" She screamed, her voice piercing the oppressive quiet. The shadows recoiled momentarily, but the moment was too brief. They surged back, swirling with furious energy, filling her lungs with the smell of decay and despair. She stumbled, gasping, struggling to regain her footing, but the ground beneath her was slick with something foul, something thick and wrong. If she slipped, there would be no telling what awaited her in the depths of shadow. "Mommy! Save me!" Liam's voice echoed again, the innocence within it shredding her resolve. She couldn't let go, not now. She could hear their quiet whimpers beneath the cacophony of the dark, like soft echoes of an evening gone too sinister. Then, a flicker of light danced ahead, flickering like a lantern in the void. Was it real? Or simply a trick, a lure from the shadows to lead her further into the abyss? "Just a little closer, you can find them," the shadows coaxed, their smooth voices wrapping around her like a noose. But the light was brighter now, pulsing with the rhythm of her frantic heartbeat. A glimmer of hope ignited within her, it felt wrong yet familiar. It was the language she had chanted, the ancient promise of protection, the secret they had held dear. What if it was the way out? She surged forward, feet finding ground where shadow sought to pull her down. The illuminating glow poured into her, warming her chilled bones, and she felt their sadness merge with her own. Claire and Liam trapped but near. No more games. The shadows writhed angrily, lunging toward her. Amanda felt strength swell within her. With a fierce shout, she called the secret anew, her words stronger than before. The night sparkled with energy as she spoke, her breath a whirlwind, pushing back the tide of darkness. Suddenly, the shadows shrieked. The sound sliced through the forest and sent vibrations through her bones. "You can't protect them all." They spat, their malice leaking into the air, targeting her resolve. "Watch me!" she roared, illuminating the clearing before her. Then she saw them, Claire and Liam encased in a cocoon of shadows, eyes wide with fear, bodies trembling. "Let them go." Amanda felt a surge beneath her feet, earth and shadow mingling. The ancient words ignited around her, lifting her body, wrapping her in their power. The air thickened, almost tangibly electric. She pushed against the chaos. "Choose." The shadows hissed, their voices a chorus of agony and desperation. "Choose or we take them." Time twisted, a slow horror stretching endlessly, her heart hammering in her chest. "Both. I choose both," she cried, the flames of her desperation igniting into a fierce blaze. "Impossible." They hissed, as the darkness began to pulse violently, twisting and swirling, hungry for her sacrifice. The shadows writhed, seeking her very core. Then, just as the tides of darkness surged, the light she bore erupted around her, a beacon piercing through the fog. It swallowed the cries and turned the shadows into howling wraiths, trapped in a blinding radiance. Amanda screamed, "You will not take my children." But in that moment of hope, something shifted. The light flickered. The shadows twisted, their hatred rising into a deafening roar. Suddenly, the blinding glow dimmed to a muted glow, flickering like a dying ember. Time froze as her heart sank. "Mommy?" The soft voice of her daughter floated from the darkness, trembling and fragile. A deep dread welled within her as the horror of their situation boiled over. They were still trapped. "What have I done?" Amanda whispered to herself, realizing that in her rush to save them, she might have sealed their fate instead. "What are you willing to pay?" The shadows whispered again, their voices dripping with malice. The pulsating glow waned, and darkness coiled tighter around them. "Mommy!" Fear ripped through her, leaving her breathless, as the shadows seemed to be closing in again. She grasped for the flickering light pulsing weakly in her chest and saw her children nearly drowning in fear. She felt the weight of a choice looming, one she never wanted to confront. "Who will I lose?" The shadows laughed, a chilling sound echoing through the trees. The pressure mounted, reality bending around her, secrets swirling in a menacing dance. She was losing them. This would end the way it always had, with unbearable sacrifice. Could she snatch them from the jaws of darkness, or was one destined to be lost forever? The question hung heavy in the air, paralyzing her, as the shadows breathed their hungry hate around them. What or who would be left behind? Amanda's breath came in frantic gasps, each one dragging her closer to despair. The shadows danced dangerously around her, mockingly whispering their wicked promises of sacrifice, their dark tendrils creeping ever closer to her trembling body. Every heartbeat felt like a drum urging her to decide to choose one child over the other. Who will you lose? They chanted, the chilling echo surrounding her like a noose tightening around her throat. No. The word ripped from her mouth, fierce and raw. Amanda steadied herself, forcing the rising tide of despair back against the encroaching shadows. She wouldn't leave either of her children behind. In that moment of clarity, she tugged at the flickering memory deep within her, a secret too precious and powerful to let vanish in the darkness. It was the ancient language they had used in the twilight of bedtime stories, a call for help, a benediction of love. Together. Together. Amanda shouted. The remnants of her strength gathered, surging forth as she called upon the essence that bound them all. Claire. Liam. Hold on to each other. Feel my love. And as if her words carried a spark, the shadows recoiled for the briefest moment, hesitant against the growing glow around her. The figures of her children twitched, trapped and frightened, their eyes wide, reflecting the light that surged through Amanda's heart. She pressed forward, fists clenched in determination, her voice soaring with resolve. You are more than shadows, you are my light. We are stronger together. With that, the flickering flame inside her began to expand, growing brighter, as warmth flowed from her heart into the depths of the chilling darkness. Join hands. Her voice steadied, her breath steadying as light poured from her like a beacon breaking through the oppressive weight of despair. She could feel Claire and Liam reaching out, grasping at her warmth, drawing close to her love that wrapped around them. Let go of the darkness. She cried out, summoning every ounce of emotion, fear, pain, love. They were alive in her, and the forest shivered at the strength of her bond. I want to let you go. I'll hold on to both of you. The shadows cried out, screeching in rage. The force of the light pulsed and pushed back against the shadows, attempting to envelop her children. A brimming warmth enveloped them, spilling forth in radiant waves that splintered through the forest's grasp, illuminating every dark corner. The figures of her children gained solid form, visible and tangible. Mommy! They cried, recognition dawning in their eyes as they grasped onto one another, the figure of Claire stretching her small hand toward Liam, pulling him close. The shadows retreated, howling cruelly, fighting against the brilliant light that enveloped them. The ancient pact, once bearing down insidiously, crackled and fizzled in the face of Amanda's defiance. Feel our love. She shouted, allies united against the dark. That warmth swelled until it was raw passion, swirling outward until it engulfed all of Maplewood. Sounds of the night shook beneath the weight of their bond, the trees creaked, the earth trembled, and the very essence of nature reacted to the power of love transcending fear. And with one final cry, Amanda thrust her hands forward, a catalytic burst of light erupting from her heart, a fiery shield against the malevolence that sought to ensnare them. The forest shuddered violently, the shadows writhing and wailing, torn apart by a force born of unconditional love. In one breathtaking instant, the shadows dissolved, flickering into nothingness. The ancient pact broke apart, like glass shattering into dust. Breathless, Amanda collapsed to the ground, the adrenaline pouring out of her. The clearing around them gently shifted, revealing soft glimmers of dawn. Mommy? Liam's voice trembled, small but filled with life. Did you really save us? Always, Amanda whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. She pulled them into her arms as the sun broke through the veil of night, casting gold rays across their faces, each illuminated smile, dispelling the remnants of fear that still clung to her heart. Reflections of their laughter echoed off the trees, as if the woods themselves had relinquished their horrible hold, reclaiming joy under the rising sun. In this moment of tranquility, Amanda realized that they were free. The forest had claimed its price, but they had conquered in unity. No shadow could divide what love had knitted together. As they finally began to make their way back home, each step firm upon the earth like a promise fulfilled, Amanda locked her arm around her children. "Let us make Halloween a night of joy," she said softly, laughter spilling into the morning air, the echo a sweet melody of triumph, one that the shadows would never reclaim. And as they walked, the first leaves of fall fluttered down, painting the ground golden and brown, casting a final, warm glow upon Maplewood. Home awaited, filled with love, and the haunting whispers of shadows, now merely echoes in the light. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm, help us grow this amazing community. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this exciting conclusion. Tell us what you think happened next. And most importantly, instantly share this story with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Don't hesitate, true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.